So every once in a while, I'm always stating that it's great to take you off your daily algorithms and get into some more nuanced topics. As NBA fans this season especially, is really one of the first times they see without a shot of a doubt that some of the national sports media and the narratives that they push is clashing with what is actually taking place on the court, and nothing plays out further than the 2026 NBA Finals, where the Knicks were not ranked to be the favorites even before the Western Conference Finals had ended, knowing that OKC had injuries, and Wemby, especially the way he's been playing throughout the season, there was always a struggle with the Spurs closing out games with him. But again, now we are in the era where instead of the sports entities like ESPN actually covering certain leagues, they're now pushing more personalities where the fame actually overrides the talent. That's what drives the clicks, and that is exactly what they want. Interesting enough, Kevin Durant's agent, Rich Kleiman, has sat down with Steve Stout, one of the big wig music executive moguls that has worked alongside guys like Jay-Z, and they reassessed today's media landscape where fame is pushed over talent, and the bigger a lie is about a narrative, the more revenue it generates. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
What has shifted is fame has got in the way of talent. Fame and talent had a great relationship. Fame is the amplifier of talent. Fame has decided it doesn't need talent anymore. Yeah. Fame has actually outpaced talent, and the worst part of that is that talent has accepted that truth. So people who are talented will actually do something that will get them famous versus leaning into that talent. And that goes back to this first thing about brand stuff, about like being your brand. Like if you decide, man, I'm gonna have a hot take that's ridiculous as shit, just because I know it's gonna get clicks. What are you doing to your brand? What do you think that does to you? You could be one of the great athletes, but because you wanna get your podcast going, you're willing to say the dumbest shit because you know that's gonna get clicks. What the you think that says about you?
Crazy enough, does that not sound like Pat Bev? But that's one of the things that's starting to hurt ESPN's credibility, especially with them just being so personality driven. And since when has it been the thing to actually stand on a hot take no matter how stupid you sound? It's okay to go back on something, but the fact that everyone's so 10 toes deep, as if sports talk is like politics with all those gray areas, it's just not it.
Fame is a dangerous drug.
And we created the ultimate playground for that drug. Right. There was the reality boom like 25 years ago, and reality TV was like the first kind of reflection of people that were getting famous and called talentless at the same time. Then social media created this entire like vessel for that to happen for anybody and everybody. So now you can chase fame, and the tactics that are needed to become famous are just no longer the tactics that was the only thing that resulted in fame, which was talent.
Yeah.
So when you say talent's accepted it, is it that they'll either compromise their brand or just accept that what their talent is?
Both. Listen, I have a great deal of respect for Stephen A. Smith. I think Stephen A. Smith has done so much shit that is about fame than the fact that he's actually a great journalist. He's clearly cashing out. But his journalism, the thing that he's great at, I believe, is homogenized by the shit that he's doing for fame. That's one example of many examples.
No, but it's a real one, because it also has a real impact on what your legacy may be, which if you stop and think about it, may be the one thing that could keep somebody from chasing that, which is that his legacy may be just as clouded with some of this.
I just know that I've seen that transition from like journalists to like, yo, whatever's gonna get the clicks.
And that's the whole business for the media today, especially ESPN. This past offseason, I'm not gonna lie, they hopped on the Wemby train a little bit too early, but I understand why they did it. It was the more quote-unquote sexier story to sell. But the finals results, it showed you that they were completely off. For the Knicks to be breaking so many scoring records, and for that to be ignored, and just to say, hey, the Spurs or even OKC, if they make the finals with all those injuries, they would be the favorites. And there has been trickle downs in other areas of the season. The MVP awards, who ranks where, the top 5 guys, Luka, Jaylen Brown, where did they rank at the end of the season. A lot of that was narrative driven. We're slowly entering into the era where even a large conglomerate like ESPN, backed by Disney, is in the same clout chasey ecosystem as a streamer on Twitch or Kick. And because of social media, the bigger the lie, the more money gets made. Especially when all the top media companies are spreading that lie or just saying it at the same time. That's another new thing that's going on right now. It's a clever ass way to hide a stupid take. Just everyone have them at the same time. It doesn't matter if you're on Fox, if you're on ESPN, NBC, ABC, it doesn't matter. Like Vincent Goodwill saying that the NBA trophy is a participation trophy. You see, the same day Vincent Goodwill had made that statement, it didn't matter because there were so many other stupid takes that happened that same day that were completely outlandish. But hey, this is the era that we're in.
Know that I've seen that transition from like journalists to like, yo, whatever's going to get the clicks.
But
and
why-
I have a great deal of respect for him, period. But this is what's happening. This is the new game.
And that, I believe that may be what legacy is turning into. It's the story that's told about you. You couldn't get somebody to talk about him right now today without talking about all the other stuff. And that does sustain. It happens to actors and musicians that are some of the greatest in the history of their field. But when you tell their story, it gets coupled with all of the other shit that goes on in their life. I mean,
Yeah.
Hey, we could see that exact scenario that Rich Kleiman just spoke about play out with Kendrick Lamar and Drake. It's like nowadays you can't mention one person without the other, even though both artists already had established themselves and their legacies without the other one's name being attached. It's crazy how powerful some of these algorithms are, and you're seeing why guys like LeBron James have a whole media entity underneath them. The Mind the Game podcast with Rich Paul and Max Kellerman. Always make sure to come to his defense. LeBron also has his media plans. Guys like Dave McMenamin, Nick Wright, Brian Windhorst, etc. A king today must defend his castle for sure. And with that said, we're also seeing a manufacturing of certain moments that come across as very inorganic, like the LeBron father and son duo with Bronny James. Just check out former FS1 anchor Rick Buford break down how manufactured the Bronny James storyline is. And really, this is LeBron and his team trying to go on the offensive end on social media. This is why this media landscape is a nice, delicate balance these guys got to play. Of course, they got to defend their legacies or certain narratives, but also when they try to go on the offense, they can't go in too deep or else it looks too manufactured to the audience.
As for LeBron playing with Bronny in the overtime win and the plays that they made, LeBron spoke about it himself, tagging various moments as the craziest or most special of his career, throwing Bronny a lob and setting a screen for him to knock down a three as two of them. And it is indeed wild to think about a father and son playing together in a playoff game, in an NBA playoff game, and making plays. That LeBron would relish the experience and savor it makes perfect sense. I know I would. What I don't quite get, given the circumstances, is why it would be a monstrously big deal to anyone else. Now, I'm sure LeBron stans will be quick to point out that what LeBron and Bronny did was historic. Technically, they are right again. But let's not kid ourselves on how that history was made. The two of them playing together in a playoff game has no more significance than the first game of the 2024-25 season when LeBron and Bronny took the court in the second quarter of their season opener at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's when they became the first father-son duo to play in an NBA regular season game, which was significant, just not in the way some would like to suggest or have presented it. They weren't the first father-son combo to play in the NBA because the James family produced a pair of legit NBA players. The significance is that LeBron is the first star with A, the incredible longevity to still be a valuable player as he turned 40.
Also B, LeBron James is one of the first NBA stars to actually leverage him being the face of the league in ways that his predecessors never really thought to do, guys like Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, to get their sons into the league when everyone knows deep down inside they're not really necessarily worthy. Also, let me say this about the way LeBron James has flexed his power and positioned the Lakers franchise during his tenure in LA. I gotta say, for the first time, a legacy franchise like the Lakers are seeing how it feels when they're not necessarily in the power position of the relationship. LeBron James, of course, is not bigger than the Lakers logo, but the position the Buss family was in with their team not being relevant since their father had passed away, and LeBron helping them gain not only the relevance, but making money. That's why a lot of people behind the scenes for the Lakers haven't made as much noise about LeBron, because he did allow them to be in a great position in order to sell that team for $10 billion. But the way he has built up a media empire while being down there is crazy. Partnering up with TNT Sports, also other major production powerhouses out in London. He's got Forbes marketing his net worth, which is much higher than each member of the Buss family if you look them up individually, including Genie. So as NBA fans, we've never seen this before, where a player on the team has a higher individual net worth than one of the owners that is in full control. Again, Jeannie Buss, who is savvy herself with the media, has never been put in this position, and seeing the forest through the trees, that article by Baxter Holmes kind of exposed her true feelings about LeBron James' relationship with the media.
B, that his star power was still bright enough to convince the Lakers to keep him happy by drafting his son. And C, that he had no problem wielding his influence to get Bronny on the roster with him. The significance is that we've never seen anyone willing to and able to exercise all three of those components. Bronny is not on the roster for any reason other than he is LeBron James' son. He is there thanks to the power that his father wields. That's a testament to LeBron's massive power, make no mistake about it. It's also a testament to his willingness to use that power to satisfy his own interests. I don't have a problem with that. If the Lakers don't have a problem with it, why would I? Just don't ask me to celebrate him and Bronny playing together as some sort of natural achievement, like Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. playing together in Major League Baseball. Both Griffeys made it to the bigs independently, Jr. proving to be a better player than his dad. When they played together at the end of Ken Sr.'s career, it was more of a gift to him than Jr. This is not that. Someone had the audacity to suggest LeBron hitting a game-tying three to force overtime and throwing a lob to his son outdid Michael Jordan's 6 championships. In LeBron's mind, perhaps. For anyone else, it is far too artificial of a construct to hold any meaning. He's inherited his dad's athleticism, if not his size, and he's had access to the most elite trainers, coaches, and facilities in the world since he first picked up a ball. But did he earn the incredibly rare opportunity to be drafted by an NBA team or get minutes his very first game as a rookie or be on the floor last week against the Rockets? LeBron and Bronny fans tried to suggest that Bronny outscoring the entire Rockets bench in the overtime win was proof that those who doubted his NBA stock were wrong. Come on. Bronny scored 5 points. So did Jared Vanderbilt off the bench. Jackson Hayes had 12 points off the bench. The Rockets subs, meanwhile, took a grand total of 11 shots. This was a game where head coach Ime Udoka decided to stay primarily with his starters, every one of them playing 43 minutes or more. The hollowness of the James father-son performance in the Game 3 overtime win was also exposed in their Game 4 blowout loss. Those heralding the father-son lob and LeBron game-tying three in Game 3 were oddly quiet when LeBron turned the ball over 3 times in a 90-second span, or when he gacked a 2-foot layup. Bronny grabbed the rebound only to fumble the ball out of bounds.
And the same thing happened with the media pundits that told the NBA fan bases that the Knicks would not be the favorites, whether the injured riddled Oklahoma City Thunder team made the finals or the San Antonio Spurs with the young Victor Wembanyama, who doesn't necessarily even perform for them in closing minutes. Once the finals had ended and the Spurs did not even win one home game, the very same pundits were quiet. Once again, we're in an era where they're going to sell the fan bases a story that's going to generate clicks instead of the truth. This might work in the political world, but in sports, because there's wins and losses involved, it's a little bit more black and white.
All of that now is perfectly understandable for a 41-year-old LeBron trying to fill the massive hole left by Reeves and Doncic. Or Bronny appearing in a playoff game after making 42 appearances in the regular season, averaging less than 9 minutes and 2.9 points. All of this is just so unusual to see that for anyone to suggest that LeBron and Bronny have followed a normal path to playing together for the Lakers is just ignoring or is unaware of the history of the NBA and just how difficult it has been or is for players to actually get on the floor, no matter who they are. I am in no way saying what they did in Game 4 should be criticized. But there is also no reason to make a big deal out of what transpired in Game 3. At least not for anyone outside of the James family.
Well said, but it's all about the storylines nowadays. That Bronny James saga has been a great revenue generator for the Lakers. His jersey sales, man, they're up there. But it is what it is. A lot of the NBA fans are moving into an era where you're going to have to cross-reference a lot of the information that's coming from the NBA on-air television personalities. With all the companies that are just consolidating within that media business, the very few on-air television time has to have some sort of hot take debate that can go viral. And it's slowly ushering us into the era where the narrative is bigger than the actual results on the court.